Alright, fast rhymes on the previous NFL season on Slam Synopsis. Ready, break! Welcome to my Omaha State! Hello friends, it's the 51st season of the Super Bowl, so let's stroll with the end goal, not the end zones, but searching the sidelines to remind of this season's spikes and spikes, needs and needs, picks and picks, reads and reads, audibles, breaks from breaks, flips and flips, fakes and fakes. Football came back in September and will be remembered for a mix of plays, stories, and showmen. It's time to recap the past days, glories, and moments. So what happened? Well, Goodell did dwell on intel and sus Brady, who said, "Oh hell no more," and sat out 4. Rookies had opened doors since Wentz got to start, hence Bradford departing to Minnesota for more than an iota as the Vikes. Yikes, they were coerced to trade a first and fourth round since Bridgewater went down when he dislocated a knee. Meanwhile, Romo was no-go when he busted his back, so in-stepped Dak. Would he be great? Well, that rhyme matched up perfect, so I'd say it was fade. How about the debate caused by Kaepernick, who was picked apart for taking a sit to spark anti-racist flames? And while I do think he started a conversation, he also wasn't starting games. As for the season before the season, there is no reason to focus on the win-losses up into Booth because the Cowboys started 1-3, but the Browns went 0-4. Maybe there is some truth. The division geographically furthest from the best was, of course, the West. Under Reed, Casey wasn't in the lead with the clock ticking down, but Eric Berry turned it around by scoring a pick 2 on a safety. He didn't get an INT, but did get the W. Double the weight is Dontari Poe, who's the heaviest man to throw a touchdown. Attaboy Dontari, best role for a Poe since Kung Fu Panda 3. Also under Reed, the Chiefs didn't have the lead in the division. No one envisioned Oakland to not choke and find a star, but then came Raiders of the Lost Car, who left late, and checkmate. Oakland fans were all, "Why do you plague us?" because Carr left with injury, and maybe for Vegas. The Broncos didn't have Peyton White on their side, and Simeon became a synonym for no playoffs, and little payoff for Rivers. Here's a guy who needs a good team like Rodgers. Even worse, San Diego's battery died, and now they have no Chargers. From AFC to NFC, UL later from St. Louis, and when they got there, the crowd went all booing and thought it was hooey, like the play of the 49ers, who looked like minors, get polishing those 9 irons, won 2 games of 16, which means they're deemed to have the second draft choice. Can't even rejoice at being the worst, like some opinions of Seattle's unis who were sans beast mode sugar rush but had color rush and color as blind as Thursday night had post-game highlighters. The Cardinals were seldom igniters, with consistency on the fritz, either throwing fits or throwing 2 fits, who Prob wanted to end his ride with winning pride. Well, they tried, but can't leave after a 6-6 tie. Kicking field goals was not the goal. This game was less reality and more a bad dream. The best deal from Arizona was the iced tea, not the team. While England's fans, led by the Sisters of Corden, were cordial, the Jaguars arrived again, but not much from Bortles, who still leads a team of mere mortals. But they've always had bad luck, unlike the Colts, who have a good luck but has no good luck. He has bad luck, which is bad for luck, as he got hit, then hit with the concussion protocol, because that's today's football. And while it's snowball, don't recall or overhaul, just go on a small shopping spree. But no matter what, they're still glad they didn't pick RG3. As for the Titans, they may not be remembered yet, but a solid bet is Marcus Mariota could fill the quota, as 9-7 was tied for their division, but still fell to Houston. You son have pissed off a whole fan base, as Broncos disgraced Osweiler like an impounded Rottweiler in prison like Oscar Wilde. Osweiler got some serious money, to many it ain't funny, and was sent to the benches despite playing the majority out in the trenches. Carolina got hit with the Super Bowl hangover. Hanging over his head was Cam, but that's because he got, oh, damn it, come on.
Ball start. Everyone but the center. Offense.
Carolina got hit with the Super Bowl hangover. Hanging over his head was Cam, but that's because he got hit, and unless he's deaf, never heard any whistles coming from the refs. Elsewhere in the South, the Falcons trounced with the best offense and no offense, but I'd buy into Matt Ryan as MVP because he carried his unit to the 2nd seed in a division that saw the Saints come marching in and then marching out. While the Bucs had an impossible route to the playoffs, it was a better bet to say Tebow would end up a Met. While Philly has the Liberty, Pittsburgh has the Le'Veon Bell, who ran like hell week after week, hoping you got amnesty if you lost fantasy, because it just wasn't fair. The Ravens gave him a scare, but faltered despite this mother Tucker, who made all but one, a statistical scab, but it's better than having Maryland crabs. So the Ravens died like on Game of Thrones, while the Bengals got to hit the practice cones, because they went 6-9 to remind us why Cincy ain't the best football in Ohio. Never mind, because the Browns played like Browns. How bad were they? Well, I'll tell. If Snoop Dogg had a kid with Willie Nelson. Lots of L's. Well, the Bears are still that. A good SNL sketch because their team was a wretch. As for Minnesota, they looked like Bradford might be bad for the league, but he lost intrigue in the Vikings set sail early, but that's all Bridgewater under the bridge. Water. The top 2 in the North knew how to come back, as the Detroit Lions and the Green Bay Pack had their own fight in the last week. See, Detroit wasn't weak in the 4th. Actually, they were the best all time. It's a risky style, but don't get all riled because they only nabbed the Wild because of this crazy fable. Uncle Aaron said the Packers would run the table and go fairly deep, and they weren't supposed to, but then came Lambeau. Leap after leap after leap after leap after leap, after leap, after leap.
Delay a game, offense number 13.
After leap, after leap, after leap. Here's the funny thing about Garoppolo, not Garofalo. Oh no, the Pats didn't have Brady for the first 4, but still underscored their dominance, going 3-1 with a second and third string, so they would ring in 2017 as champs of the whole conference. But I'll confess my surprise towards the South, where people enjoy winner. Miami were winners with a spray Tannehill and a few more from him, and the Dolphins were playing bonus. So the onus is on Rex, who tried to wing it in Buffalo but couldn't get the team to play Ruffalo or go Ruffalo. The firing might be unfair for the chatty football dork. He must be sad he left New York.
You serious?
There was no magic with Fitztragic, and Bowles needs to clean out their bowels because they got bowled over after looking like they had hope, but that's a hard no. See, Darrelle Revis' dominance has parted, with that island becoming way more charted. Dallas led the East because, you know, Dallas, it's so close to the East Coast. Not to roast, but it's like The Martian winning the Comedy Golden Globe, but by Job, did them Cowboys kick ass. Actually, it wasn't by Job, it was by Ezekiel, who would strike down upon thee with great vengeance and endless yards gained for Dak, another rookie who shookied up the division with a fantastic offensive line. The only thing that could beat them was so fine. Not really. It came down to the Giants' D, which flourished in the second half, but a net and a bad O-line caused their offense to stop. Also, some odd choices from the menu at IHOP. Then you look at the Eagles, who, while not regal, were happy with how Wentz played post-trade. With draft picks coming up, a team to compete, they may be another. Now onto the NFC East's little brother, or little cousins, who probably get paid because he played good, I guess. He led the team to success. You like that? Oh, wait.
Strike that. Reverse it.
When they controlled their fate, they looked complacent. Fans were irate when the playoff gate then closed. So before we hit the postseason, let's recap the media feeding us stories like when Bradshaw said Tomlin was bad for his band of Steelers. Andrew still has a feel for switching between sports and dance. Ironic, since the NFL doesn't let you. If your moves are fine, that's what you get. You'll even get caught if you try to hide in a giant pot. Speaking of, Vic said he'll retire, a QB we once admired mainly for how we could just run with the analog. It needed to end though. His career had gone to the dogs.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness.
I regret nothing. Fox got the big game, and I think it was garbage. Time that will shine and hit its stride, captivating fans wide and slide in high tide and glide to reside. You know what? I just want to mention that Katie Nolan was part of the Hofstra Pride. On Monday night, Tirico left his football geek for the Peacock, so a new announcer they had to sign for. They got a guy who looks like a penis. Prabon Gruden's grinder. Berman stepped down, but he's still hanging around. It's just a slight career step. Bark, 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 bark. And I know we all love to attack Joe Buck because it's fun to chide and tug, but he revealed that he gets hair plugs. And while I want to make fun of that one day, anyway, let's go on. So the playoffs had few exciting layoffs.
You kidding me? Playoffs?
No, I'm not. Houston and Raiders had a bunch of rookie guys that hurt my eyes, except for the Pats, who essentially had 2 byes. All the wild cards weren't, until Giants and Green Bay, which New York dominated, but they soon forked over their hatred, played sedated, because instead of catching balls, they decided to gloat, but it's okay, they had fun on a frickin' boat. Father Rogers then showed his presence and gave them penance of 1 Hail Mary, and then everyone converted.
Father?
Next round also boring until the bevy of scoring between Green Bay and Dallas, who saddled up for a battle at the wire, and with the game dire, Garrett didn't want a timeout, chose to spike, and they won in overtime! Psych, Crosby binged it through but lost a lot of good men in the process and couldn't process a victory against Atlanta, who landed a trip to play the Patriots again in the Super Bowl. What do you say? It's Media Day asking about current events, which I resent because, like Finding Dory, y'all are trying to find pointless stories. Have some real talk with the guy who punts, you dumb stupid Conan played video games and Guillermo asked silly questions during his sessions. Now on to the Saturday before these teams went off to study, but for everyone else, it was time to honor their buddies. Dak got Rookie of the Year, but I'll shed a tear because he brought up Ezekiel, without whom he would not be here. Matt Ryan got MVP, then we see the Manning of the Year go to 2 between Fitzgerald and Eli. Realize these are sweet guys, though the good job title is a little tardy, because I'd rather Eli holding up a 3rd Lombardi. Now, before a Super Bowl winner we can proclaim, gotta talk about the collection of current fame in the Pro Bowl. It sucks. Super Bowl 51 in Houston was fun and ended in a stun after the Schuyler sisters went feminist and Luke Bryan tackled our national eminence. Atlanta versus New England would set the president with a decrepit president. The Patriots played deflatriots in the first half. The U.S. laughed when Brady got sacked and picked 6, plus the tricks of Freeman, who was a free man running all down the field as the half would yield, and a bit of a shocker, Falcons up 21-3 in the lockers. Halftime Gaming Gaga was insane, starting aloof and chilling on the roof, then went all SpongeBob with a fake grunge mob, but nothing controversial. Side note, whatever happened to funny Super Bowl commercials? Half number 2 and Atlanta wasn't through. Gabriel broke ankles on the angle and Atlanta goes up by 25 and the Pats are barely alive, but then came a Tom Brady drive.
And here we go.
Ryan fumbled as the Falcons stumbled in their land and the Pats score and get 2 more to go down 8, but it's too late as the Falcons are in field goal range. But more sacks and holds. Are they deranged? Do you want to lose the Super Bowl? Because that's how you lose the Super Bowl. You are letting down a whole country by punting to Brady, who nearly threw a pick once but no dunce, twice but no dice, and a third with a catch heard round the world. 3 defenders were contenders, but Edelman went all David Tyree and he made the Falcons look like finches with the catch that eventually clinches, just hanging on by inches.
That's what living is! The 6 inches in front of your face!
Rev said turn your head and cough. Now for the blast off. The Pats would rock and roll with a touchdown and then Amendola to tie. I'm gonna cry. I think the Falcons should just try badminton. After blowing that lead, I'd call them the Atlanta Clintons.
Ha
The fake knee was cute. Now a sudden death shootout in the first overtime ever. The endeavor starts with a coin flip, which is bull flip. The Pats win on heads up, heads up. Pass interference just delays the inevitable. James White saw the defense is penetrable, and the Patriots are Super Bowl champs, 165 miles east of Austin. And in this millennium, it's another championship for f***ing Boston. Brady felt an emotional swell as he got revenge on Roger Goodell, his 4th MVP and 5th Lombardi of note. Fine, I'll say it. Tom Brady is the... So that is our season with New England, the winning dynasty led by who many will say is the finest. He went through a lot with his family and career, and it doesn't look like the bloody end is near. It's time to watch basketball, hockey, or even the Masters. For now, we turn off the lights. Next up, pitchers and catchers.